What I'd like to start off talking about and looking at is the First World War, and with those Borrowash lads, some of them aged 14 and 15, lying about their age, making the mum or the girlfriend proud, and they thought it's going to be 3 months, 4 months, and then we'll come home as a hero. For some of them, they were lucky if they made it 3 or 4 weeks. This is their story, and it moved me. I hope it's going to mean something to you.
What was of interest and struck me was we got the war memorial here and 2 further war memorials in the Methodist Church that gave us names of people. Using modern technology, we've got databases, information systems through the internet. A lot of national databases have been put up. We've been able to identify about 75% of the people on the war memorial, the day they died, which battle they were in, which regiment they were in, and when they joined up. Sometimes we get further information through some of the detailed records. We have been able to build that up as well into a family groupings using genealogy databases. And in doing that, I've been very pleased to have been working alongside Keith Oseman, who is a professional genealogist and has really helped move this part of the project on tremendously.
We've been able to build a profile of many of these names, including, as Peter said, the dates on which they died, the regiments in which they served, and the battles in which they fought. The first man to die was Harry Phipps. He was a seaman. He died when the HMS Formidable was torpedoed on New Year's Day in 1915. Using the databases, using the project, we've been able to build up detailed information on many of the dates, many of the regiments, many of the battles in which these young men served. So we've discovered that some 20 of these young men died during the Battle of the Somme, 4 of them on that infamous first day of the battle. With the name of one woman who died, she was Margaret Hasse, and she was a Red Cross volunteer aid detachment nurse. She worked down at the Netley Hospital in Southampton. She succumbed to the influenza epidemic in late 1918 and was brought back to Ockbrook to be buried. The last man to die, Charles Hucklesby, died after the end of the war, 12 days after the war ended. We've been able to build up stories of some of the lives and some of the deaths of these people. Walter Sidney Day from a nearby farm in the village. He went to war 1 week after his son was born. He may never have seen his son, and he died within a few months. And when we came to look at his service record, we found his possessions returned to his wife, and amongst those possessions was a toy cannon. And we've asked ourselves, did he buy this toy cannon for his little boy, the little boy that he never saw grow up? This has been our main source of information from the beginning of the project. But as we've gone along, we came across a new source of information, a poem called The Borrowash Boys.
A finer lot of boys we think it would be hard to find, but when there's heavy work to do, Borrowash won't be far behind.
This is written by local gardener George Burridge. His own son, his own Borrowash boy, had died before the war broke out. But in this poem, we've got 27 verses of patriotic verse, but amongst the verses are scattered the names of 58 Borrowash boys, 58 young men who'd signed up to serve in World War I. And this poem was written in late 1914. At that time, all these young men were still alive.
They've gone to let the Kaiser know that Borrowash is all alive.
But the 2/3, the 39 names of people who did return to the village, are now the subject of a follow-up research project. We've already begun to research some of them, and we're trying to discover what became of them in the aftermath of the war, and did they return to normal happy lives, or did they suffer from the after effects of the war.